There are actually two ways of seeing, and these can be described as the first gaze and the second gaze. The first gaze is influenced by what we call the false self. The second gaze comes out of what we call the true self. Now, it seems to me that our task as we journey through life is to move from the first gaze to the second gaze. Let me say something firstly about the first gaze. Most of us tend to see with the first gaze most of the time. The first gaze is my default way of seeing myself and others. It is also the way the culture in which I live tends to see me, indeed wants to see me. My first gaze is a reaction. It's a reaction to my feelings of inadequacy. I feel I am not good enough. And if I am not good enough, then others are not good enough either. It is my feelings of inadequacy that make me defensive and fearful and competitive and judgmental and controlling and anxious. Because of my low self-esteem, my poor self-worth, what do? I need to accumulate and achieve in order to feel good about myself. I also constantly need the approval of other people. If I see myself in a negative way, then I will see others in a negative way. I will also see the things that happen in the world in a negative way. But what about the second gaze? Well, the second gaze is the way that God sees. The second gaze sees me, other people, and creation as good and lovable. In the second gaze, I am always worthy of love and belonging, and so are others. When I know that I am worthy of love and belonging, I am open and trusting and cooperative and inclusive. I am also able to take the risk of standing undefended. So, how do we develop this second gaze? Well, one thing that can help us develop the second gaze is what we call contemplative practice. What is contemplative practice? Well, contemplative practice is a way of sitting in silence that allows me to listen, to receive, to let myself be loved as I am, to accept the gift of my belovedness, which in fact has already been given to me. Contemplative practice enables me to see myself as God sees me, with love and tenderness. Perhaps the best fruit of contemplative practice is compassion. Through contemplative practice, I am able to gaze on myself, others, and the world with a compassionate heart. Now, even though we long for the second gaze, we tend to settle for the first one. Why? Because of the power of our wounds, especially the wound of conditional love. Moving from the first gaze to the second gaze involves facing up to my false self, which was actually caused by the wound of conditional love. This can be a difficult and demanding process. For many of us, it takes a crisis, especially a midlife crisis, to make us finally accept that we are finding our value in what we have, in what we do, and in what other people think of us. At some point in our lives, we need to stop defining ourselves by our possessions and by our achievements and by our reputation, and instead start finding our value within, in our true self, in our belovedness. It seems to me that we are not going to move into the freedom of the second gaze unless and until we stop looking for happiness in the wrong places.